So today we will be talking about veins in head and neck. First of all, how the sinuses drain into the in the brain. So the ophthalmic vein, facial vein, and sphenoparietal sinus together combine to form cavernous sinus. Now the inferior sagittal sinus, which is inferior to the falx cerebri, the occipital sinus, and the superior sagittal sinus, which is superior to the falx cerebri. Inferior sagittal sinus drains into the straight sinus. Now the straight sinus, occipital sinus, and superior sagittal sinus drain into the confluence of sinuses. These confluence of sinuses then again drain into the transverse sinus. This transverse sinus drain into the sigmoid sinus. The sigmoid sinus again receives a tributary from cavernous sinus called as superior petrosal sinus. The other tributary of cavernous sinus, that is inferior petrosal sinus, drain together with sigmoid into the internal jugular vein. Now, in the facial region, the supratrochlear vein, supraorbital vein, angular vein, superior and inferior labial veins, inferior palpebral vein, lateral palatine vein, submental vein. These all combine to drain into the facial vein. Now, the superficial temporal vein, which is comprising of parietal and frontal veins, and the pterygoid plexus, which drain into the maxillary vein. These superficial temporal and maxillary vein combine to form retromandibular vein. Now, the facial vein anastomose with superficial temporal vein via transverse facial vein. Again, the facial vein anastomose with pterygoid plexus with the help of deep facial vein. The retromandibular vein divides into anterior and posterior parts. The anterior part of retromandibular vein combines with facial vein to form common facial vein. The anterior part of retromandibular vein goes anteriorly where it joins with posterior auricular vein to form external jugular vein. External jugular vein again receives occipital vein. There are anterior jugular veins in the neck, transverse cervical vein in the level 5, and suprascapular vein, which all drain into the external jugular vein. The external jugular vein then finally drains into the subclavian vein. Now, internal jugular vein and the subclavian vein together forms and join to form brachiocephalic vein. The other side of brachiocephalic vein joins and forms superior vena cava, which drains into the right atrium. Thank you.